Imagine waking up tomorrow, tugging on a graphite-toned long sleeve that feels like the softest athleisure you already love, yet hides a microscopic lattice of pure silver fibers powerful enough to reflect 99+% of the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and 5G chatter pouring from every phone, router, and smart fridge in your home. Then sliding into a pair of joggers cut from the same fabric that blocks virtually all ultraviolet rays, stays odor-free after 3 Peloton rides, and still looks boardroom sharp under a blazer. That single tactile moment explains why the $432 billion global athleisure market is sprinting toward the $1 trillion mark, and why HAVN is poised to outrun legacy brands stuck on moisture-wicking slogans. Because the next frontier isn't just comfort or style. It's clothing that actively defends your biology while keeping you Instagram ready. We live in a world where the average urbanite is hit by 100 times more non-ionizing electromagnetic fields than their grandparents, and although regulators argue over thresholds, more than 2,000 peer-reviewed studies link chronic EMF load to oxidative stress, sluggish cognition, fertility declines, and fragmented sleep. So the question haunting every wellness-savvy professional from San Francisco to Seoul is, how do we stay online without frying our cells? And the answer is deceptively simple. Weave a personal Faraday cage into apparel people actually want to wear. That idea ignited when 2 aerospace engineers combing through NASA papers on conductive meshes realized spacesuit tech could shrink from shuttle bay to wardrobe. So they rented a garage in Santa Monica, prototype boxer briefs with an 80% Supama cotton, 20% silver micro-filament knit they dubbed WaveStopper, and posted the concept on a tiny crowdfunding page, expecting maybe a couple hundred tinkerers to bite. Instead, they sold out in 48 hours, fielded frantic emails from biohackers begging for more, and saw reorder rates north of 40%, an anomaly in apparel where 15 means you're crushing it. So they did what every scrappy founder does: begged suppliers for more filament, maxed personal credit cards for pre-orders, and hustled through sleepless months, sewing in their living room, until a single TikTok showing an RF meter dropping from 2,000 microwatts per square meter to single digits under the WaveStopper pouch racked up 1 million views, and blew the doors off demand, forcing the duo to scale from cottage to microfactory practically overnight. That clip became the first proof loop, a visceral hook that makes the invisible audible, and proof loops are the backbone of HAVN's narrative: show the threat, demonstrate the shield, log the user outcomes. So by the time the brand relaunched as HAVN, spelling safe harbor for the hyperconnected, it already had a community of early adopters documenting deeper sleep scores on Oura-rings, lower resting heart rates on Whoop straps, and fewer end-of-day headaches in HR dashboards. Those anecdotes snowballed into a repeatable playbook: short provocation, transparent science, immediate payoff. Athletes jumped first, because high performers chase marginal gains like venture capitalists chase alpha. So NFL recovery gurus slid WaveStopper into travel kits. NBA forwards wore the hoodies on every red eye. UFC fighters slept in the beanies during weight cut weeks, and each post generated organic evidence for the next wave of prosumers. All executed on marketing budgets a fraction of Adidas influencer spends, because authenticity trumps ad dollars when the benefit is measurable in biometrics you already track. Fast forward to today, and HAVN has shipped more than 250,000 units, banked $15 million in cumulative revenue with 36% growth this year, and maintained gross margins north of 65%, even while hedging bullion-grade silver costs through year-long contracts. A feat possible because average order value sits around $120, double industry norms, proving that customers view protective function as a premium worth paying. Now roll the camera into HAVN's Los Angeles facility, where rolls of vacuum-sealed silver filament arrive weekly. Laser cutters carve ergonomic panels with near-zero waste, and every 30th garment gets yanked into a copper-lined anechoic chamber for attenuation testing against 10 MHz to 50 GHz sweeps, guaranteeing the shield holds above 85 decibels after 300 wash cycles, a quality control standard few aerospace suppliers match, let alone clothing brands. Those lab numbers feed a second proof loop that reassures every skeptic ant who once thought EMF concern was tinfoil hat territory. Because nothing silences doubt like a third-party certification chart flashed on screen with a meter that barely twitches under bombardment. From that plant cartons roll to direct-to-consumer customers in all 50 states plus 72 countries, but also to forward-deployed Air Force units testing cockpit suits under an SDTR contract, a credential that grants HAVN regulatory Aura and defense-grade procurement pathways no fashion label can fake. Clinical interest followed defense interest. More than 200 integrative physicians now prescribe WaveStopper garments to patients wrestling insomnia, brain fog, or IVF protocols, and every prescription is another unpaid referral more trusted than any billboard. Yet the biggest driver might be simple sociology. When people witness a friend crush a 5K run then skip deodorant because silver threads kill odor-causing bacteria on contact, they want the same cheat code. So word of mouth accounts for more than a third of sales, spinning a viral flywheel that outperforms paid CPMs. Still, HAVN isn't settling for organic virality. The founders secured seed backing from Science Ventures, Sandhill Angels, and NBA superstar Rudy Gobert plus ex-Lululemon president Brett Conrad. Capital fueling R&D on a graphene-infused WaveStopper 2.0 that adds thermal regulation without sacrificing shield efficacy. Exactly the type of incremental innovation that turns a first mover into a category king. Licensing sits next on the roadmap because WaveStopper yardage can slide under hospital scrubs, maternity wear, even airline uniforms, unlocking Gore-Tex-style royalty streams with software-like margins. Meanwhile, macro tailwinds roar. IoT nodes set to triple by 2030, citywide millimeter wave repeaters blooming, remote work cementing screen time at all-time highs, and a Gen Z cohort already conditioned to filter water, block blue light, and count REM cycles. So adopting EMF shielding close is a tiny behavioral leap. Critics argue EMF danger remains unproven. But risk calculus isn't about consensus. It's about perceived upside versus effort. And slipping on a stylish tee is the lowest friction insurance imaginable. Those critics also underestimate consumer memory. Once upon a time, sunscreen was optional. Cigarettes were doctor recommended. BPA was nobody's problem, yet precautionary adopters moved first and reshaped markets. HAVN plans to ride that same curve by positioning its garments as the seatbelts of the digital age. A line that resonates because people instinctively grasp the analogy. Step back and map the numbers. If WaveStopper captures just 1% of the existing athleisure pie, that's more than $4 billion in annual potential before even touching healthcare or military verticals, and at a conservative 2.5 revenue multiple that equals a $10 billion valuation ceiling. But the founders prefer attainable milestones, so they're modeling to reach $350 million within 5 years, an exit point that would deliver roughly 10 times on HAVN's current implied equity cap. That cap sits at $35 million via SAFE, so early supporters convert below future valuations, and because the raise runs on HAVNware.com with a low entry ticket, even casual health hackers can own a sliver of the first brand to merge spacesuit science with Saturday morning joggers. Capital from this round scales production to 4 automated cutting lines, funds a European fulfillment hub to slash VAT headaches for the 40% of site traffic streaming in from the EU, and hires 2 PhDs to accelerate a baby line, think silver, line swaddles that damp nursery Wi-Fi, and a prenatal belly band shielding fetal tissue during the most vulnerable trimester. Expansions that tackle markets where perceived benefit-to-effort ratio hits its highest. Risk always lives here. Silver prices could spike. A Nike lab could roll out plated threads. EMF worry could stall. But HAVN hedges by locking filament supply, patenting wash durability, growing a testimonial reservoir mainstream marketing can't replicate, and diversifying revenue through raw fabric licensing. Plus the community cashes brand equity daily. TikTok split screens show RF meters screaming next to a standard blend then flatlining inside a WaveStopper pouch. Oura-ring graphs plot deeper REM after a week in HAVN sleep sets. Strava posts show marathoners finishing long runs stink-free. Every proof loop tightens belief and loosens wallets. So if you're a doctor sick of telling patients to, just turn it off. An athlete hunting for recovery edge, or an investor seeking asymmetric upside in real-world tech, HAVN offers a tangible wedge into a megatrend. Functional wellness clothing. The window to grab equity before institutional rounds ratchet the price sits wide open but not for long. Because once mainstream labels pivot and regulatory chatter heats up, valuations jump and early multiples vanish. So the only real choice is whether you'll watch the shift from the sideline wearing a plain cotton tee, or join early, slip on the hoodie that guards your cells. and own a stake in the first brand to weave personal protective tech into everyday style, redefining athleisure for a hyper-connected era and proving that in the next decade, clothes won't just say who we are, they'll shield who we are.